this week is actually a very small update. Okay, I thought the top of the thing was up there, but it turns out it's down here. I guess, remember it because of the smile. I guess it's a smile. It's going to be up and down. Only two things, but I do have a handful of non-anime things. Mike Tyson Mysteries Season 1 DVD. Fun show. I'll talk about that later. Venture Brothers Season 7, which is unopened because I haven't watched the previous seasons. And Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, which I'm not going to be firing up anytime soon because, you know, I'm playing through Ultimate Alliance 1 and we'll play through Ultimate Alliance 2 with my streaming buddies. Anyways, Armored Trooper Votoms OVA Collection 2. Numero 2. I see a region A. I can't focus. Audio, Japanese. So Japanese with English subtitles. Victor means nothing unless you manage to survive. McFly, you bozo, you can't fly over water. No, hoverboards can't fly over water. Well, this is just one of those weeks. One of those weeks that you go off on a tangent. Now, let's see. So made in Japan. Okay. I was just wondering what we were about to see. And we got a runaway disc. Get back there, disc. Votoms 1. Votoms 2. And this looked like maybe the OVAs. Phantom Arc, Case Irvine, Votoms Finder, Chiriko's Return. And then we've got Cutie Honey Universe. Well, all I know about Cutie Honey is it's a gun-to-guy thing. Which means it's a very gun-to-guy anime. That does not help y'all, and I don't know if it helps me either. Because maybe I sometimes feel like I have a vague idea, but when you get down to it, that's in the way. Let's see, I can take that off later. You have the girl who is mostly lips, some sort of glue still there. This is the limited edition version, I guess, since iFilmWorks. That says a 5. This here is the Blu-ray proper. I see a region A. I see an English dub. Disc 1 and Disc 2. Total of 12 episodes. A lot of pictures. Okay. Are these alter egos for these characters in some way? Because they don't exactly look the same, and they don't... But they look closer to the same person. Oh yeah, they probably... That's a lot of side boobs. I don't know, very strange. This here, let's see, I see here a special booklet. Ooh, lots of character art. Nice and condensed. There's not a lot of scenery art, but maybe the characters are what people care about more for this. I'm trying to think. Because there's a little piece of round tape right here holding it together. If I do it right, I can probably open it with minimal thing. Let's just see if I can get it open by getting a little leverage underneath there. That's poking the right direction. Like that. That's a very risky one. How very gonna guy have these? Very risque. Jeez. Well, let's see. I'm actually going to fold that in so that I can just put that back in. Well, it was short, but that was this week's anime DVD collection update. So, I guess I realized I hadn't been watching much anime, or any at all. So last night I managed to get in 2 episodes of Megalobox. Still not sure what to think about it at the moment. I'm still watching it, still trying to tell what do I think about the main character, what do I think about the situation he's been set up in. Kind of curious, but not sure what to think. I think I've watched 2 episodes. This seems like the sort of show where you could be sucked in the first episode or 2, but for me it's going to be a question of longer term. So usually 3 episodes is what people say, and then you switch to something else, but I don't have anything else to really switch to, so yeah, for the most part, probably going to continue watching this. A little unsure and zombie-ish at the moment. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if I can say anything really substantial about it. Yeah, I don't know. Especially since I don't want to say what I thought I read on a website in passing, because I might not have read that correctly. But let's talk about other things that I watched, non-anime stuff. So I watched How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, and it's definitely a pretty flawed movie. You know, not horrible to watch, but it does a couple of things definitely wrong. And if those end up being the nitpicks that people don't like about it, you can't really blame them, because they are legitimate problems with the movie. The villain is probably a good example, because they came up with a good idea, an interesting villain, and the execution for him kind of started off really well, but by the end of the movie, it felt... well, they were trying to set him up as somebody that gets in your head, but then by the end it's like, oh, he's just a lucky SOB. Because his idea wasn't going to work because of reasons, and... you know, that's not something that necessarily makes a movie horrible, but that is definitely a flaw, and the movie has a handful of them. So, I wish I could say for certain how it felt compared to the first 2 movies. I remember enjoying the first 2. I think maybe the first one more than the second, but I'd have to rewatch them to find out, and I just have not put the time into doing that. So, you know, there's that. If I were to come up with the biggest flaw about it, it's called How to Train Your Dragon: The Hidden World, and it almost seems to tie in together with The Hidden World, but it is very much more loose than you think it really should be for something that's in that title, which kind of suggests for me that maybe the script was changed, or maybe the title was changed, or it was a little rough or something. I don't know. There's something about it that's there's a lot of things about it that are off. I already said that. I also watched Spider-Man: Far From Home, and it was an okay movie, entertaining even. The only reason I put it that way is because it's kind of got a weird place as the first Avengers movie to happen after Endgame, and it actually is a pretty good follow-up to that. As in, like, you're never going to be as epic as Endgame, and you probably end Endgame with a lot of questions, and I don't think this answers all of them, but it definitely addresses some of the really big ones that you probably would be thinking about at the end of Endgame. Maybe even before the end of Endgame, I guess. But, you know, it's kind of nice. It kind of gives closure to the closure, I guess, where... I don't know, I've maybe I've said this before about past things, where you can get kind of closure from something with an open-endedness just because in your mind you kind of imagine what could happen after that, and that's actually, that can be an advantage of some open-ended endings, because that speculation allows you to kind of design the future of the characters that you want. And so there's a good question of, okay, well, I mean, Endgame's not going to answer the question for all the characters because the MCU is fucking huge, but it kind of makes it where you just kind of as a general
you get a much better general feeling of things, I guess. And so, you know, in that regard, it's kind of good. I thought that the villain confrontation stuff was pretty good. But if I were to compare it to Homecoming, I think I like Homecoming's villain better, which is interesting because as a general story, Homecoming's strength is pretty much its villain, and this case, I think it was just kind of entertaining as it went. I'm not sure if I can really mention too much else about it. I mean, some of it may already be kind of more than people wanted to know, but you know, for the most part, it was good. There could be interesting things for them to do post end game. It's just I'm not sure if it's going to be able to build up to something, because you could tell from the very first movie that they were building up to Infinity Wars and Endgame. That was pretty much always known as far as I understand it. So, I don't know. Entertaining movie. And then I did watch the first season of Mike Tyson Mysteries, and it's actually pretty fun. It's kind of interesting because I'm pretty sure Pigeon would be a fan favorite, but it's interesting because it's sort of like Futurama, and Futurama, I think Bender is generally maybe a fan favorite, but they don't overpower the show. A lot of the entertainment of the show actually comes from everybody. They just tend to be kind of the sharpest humor, maybe. So that's why if you watch Futurama, you probably wouldn't be surprised if somebody said, "Oh no, I like Zoidberg the most." No, I'm a big fan of Professor Farnsworth. Every time he's on screen, I am always looking forward to him. You know, you'll definitely have people that have you know, those different preferences. It's just that Bender is the one who kind of tends to be a little bit more of the face of why the comedy in Futurama works, I guess, or why the characters in Futurama works, I guess. Just a little bit, and I think the same applies to Mike Tyson Mysteries, because Pigeon is fun, voiced by Norm Macdonald, and probably allowed to be a little bit more unhinged than I think he would be in The Orville, as an example. Of course, he's also playing a voice there, but anyways, as fun as Pigeon was, I was sure that I wanted to order DVDs as soon as I saw some clips of Mike Tyson himself, because his character's actually very hilarious, given a ton of super hilarious lines, and I'm not sure if I would take the other characters away. You know, it's not as common for, do I remember their names very well? I mean, I can barely remember Richard's non-Pigeon name, but I think it was Young and the Marquis, I guess. Anyways, the two of them aren't quite as funny, but that's because they're kind of more the straight man. So Mike Tyson and Pigeon are usually saying some super off-the-wall stuff, and they're trying to be a little more grounded, I guess. And it works pretty well. It's interesting because it means that, like, if you watch a lot of best of Pigeon videos, you don't tend to get a whole lot of Mike Tyson quotes. And I think that's because Pigeon is he's at his best when he's being abrasive, and he's usually not very abrasive with Mike Tyson. So they're just fun. And the general concept, the mysteries part of it, is really more just a parody, or even a complete, I wouldn't say it's a satire of the genre. It's more just a complete disruption, deconstruction of it, and it's fun. So, for example, you'll see a lot of things that look like, yeah, they're a mystery gang sort of thing in the opening, and then they'll get a mystery, and it's just something boring. Yeah, you don't have to worry about that buzzing noise. That's just some phone number that I don't recognize, so it's probably nobody. Anyways, you know, the episodes are really short, so there's only like, you know, it takes you less than 2 hours, I think, to watch the first season, so very fun. I'm looking forward to watching the second season, where I think I have less of a general idea of what each episode is, because it turns out you can watch YouTube videos and pretty much get the idea of an entirety of an episode, just because, you know, the episode itself is only 9 minutes long, and there's a lot of fun lines. Yeah, very fun. So let's see, outside of that, I can't think of anything too notable. I mean, obviously I'm still playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance with my streaming brother and his friends and persons and stuff. And we're going to continue playing that, and that's good. For some reason, I fired up Super Smash Brothers and just, played against the level 9 computer. Just random computers, and I don't know. It's fun. I'm getting more used to Rosalina's down B. I don't think I've ever really used it before, and for some reason now it just kind of makes sense to start using it. Which is weird because it's a little late. Everybody who probably found uses for it, especially in itemless battling. I'm doing with items, so it's just really fun when a party ball opens up and a bunch of food comes out and they fall into the black hole. That's Rosalina. But good stuff, fun stuff. I never realized how different Smash Ultimate feels, because these level 9 computers, they don't feel like the old computers of Melee and Brawl. It feels like a real struggle to actually fight them, which is why I have trouble feeling motivated to try to fight them with any character other than Rosalina, because, if I'm not playing as my best character, then I'm probably not going to win as much. And I do like, when victories happen. Especially since Rosalina's victories has that very nice and peaceful Super Mario Galaxy thing going on in its favor. Oh well, lots of stuff, blabbering. Can't think of anything else really worth mentioning. So I guess I should probably find out if next week's order is probably going to be of an okay size. I should really order next month's stuff. I'm pretty sure there's stuff coming out. There's so much stuff to do and to catch up on, and just so sleepy. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, and y'all have a nice week.